Welcome to the Leverage Show. Get more from your business and your life. Be sure to share your business questions and challenges with me at levrigeshow.com, and I'll answer them for you on future episodes. Okay, so there are many different types of entrepreneurs and business owners. Some who are approachable and some who are gruff. You've got some who always try to help, and then some who completely don't seem to care. You have some who won't take a dollar if they don't think it's socially responsible and the right thing to do. And you have others who would sell a relative if it meant an extra buck. That's just the reality of business. That's the reality of life. I mean, business owners are people, and there really isn't much separation between business and life, at least in terms of the fact that people are people, and the way that they respond to situations and the way that they react and the way that they approach things doesn't tend to change very far from who they are. So the question is, if you're looking for win-win, and this can be with any type of business relationship at all. I mean, this can be, and for that matter, it can really be with customers as well. But it could be with suppliers. It could be with potential partners. It could be with, any other sort of vendor or any other business relationship that you have, and you're accommodating. And that's your philosophy. Like you want to harbor peace, and you want everybody to get along, and you want things to go well. But you are doing business with people who aren't. Sometimes this happens. Sometimes you're stuck in a situation where, for one reason or another, you are dealing with somebody that is difficult to deal with in this regard, but at the same time, you don't really have an option, at least not at the moment, for what else to do. So you sort of have to make it work. So then what do? You got people that are mercenary. They only seem to care about themselves. How do you do it without being taken? There's a natural tendency, if you have that belief system, to sort of give, and other people will take. And you sort of think in the back of your mind that at some point they'll realize how much they're taking, and then they'll say, okay, you know what, this isn't fair to you. But to your astonishment, the more you give, the more they take, and there's never any acknowledgement of that. And again, that's just a reality of life. So if that's you in business, how do you go about it without changing, without becoming hard and cynical and all these other things? You don't have to change who you are. You just have to change the way that you approach situations. And I've found that the best way to handle business relationships is what I call the law of reciprocity. So I give everybody a chance. You want to give every single person a chance, regardless of what their past reputation might be. So even if this is someone that you have never dealt with before, but you've heard a lot of bad stuff about or whatever, scrap all that stuff. You make your own decisions. You make your own relationships one-on-one. There's a reason that some people are friends and other people aren't. And you may have friends that say, I don't know how you're friends with this person, because they could never be. Each person is an individual. So you approach each situation as completely unique, give everybody a fair chance, and don't judge someone based on their reputation. Keep an open mind, but do be aware of it. It's important that you're at least aware of it. You don't want to be completely oblivious either. Now, when you have your relationship and you have whatever it is that you're transacting in business, and you decide, I'm going to do this and you're going to do that or whatever, if they're meeting you halfway, then it's a no-brainer. You keep that relationship going, and you don't even worry about past experience or past reputation, because for you, the relationship is working. And look, you don't know, maybe the person changed their ways. Maybe they got to a point where they realized, this isn't working. Quick story from when I was in business school. We were in a negotiation class, and there was a student from a foreign country. I forget which one, but it was somewhere in Europe. And so being in the United States, he had sort of a different mentality from wherever he came from about how negotiation works. So we were given sort of this case study, and the idea was you both ultimately know what the parameters of the deal are that the other person can accept to make profit. which usually this isn't the case in business, but they wanted to illustrate a point. And so the two groups have to negotiate. Well, this person came in and said, look, I know that you're going to make money at, $10 a unit or whatever it is. So let's make the deal, $10.01. And we said, well, no, that doesn't work for us. He's like, well, of course it does. You make money. He's like, you make money and I make money. And he was going to make a lot more than we were going to make. But he just assumed, because he was using just the numbers side of it, that we would make that deal. And the long story short of it is we didn't make the deal. We told him we'd rather make no deal than go into a deal where we feel like we're being taken advantage of. And, he had said after the case study was over, because he was stunned, he was completely shocked that we wouldn't make this deal and we would walk away from money because of principle. And so he basically had said to the professor after, like we were talking about it and dealing with sort of like, what is your feedback and how did you feel about the exercise? And he said, I learned that it isn't always about just the numbers and whether or not each party stands to make a penny or not. It's more about whether or not both sides feel like they're getting a fair deal. And it's exactly true. Like in that particular case, he was going to get no deal. He was hard line. He wasn't negotiating, and that's great. But then you're going to go home empty-handed. So if they meet you halfway, by all means, you keep that relationship going. It's a no-brainer. If they don't, give them a second chance. Don't write somebody off just because of one time. Give them a second chance. But then if they still don't, reciprocate, if they still don't give you what they're supposed to do, and they come up with half of it, or they want 3/4 of the pie or whatever, then you reciprocate with the same thing. So if they promise you to do 5 things and they do 3 of them, then whatever 5 things that you had committed to, you do 3 of them. And you just match energy with energy. You match output with output. You match commitment with commitment. So whatever you are getting, you give. And when you do that, some magical things start to happen. First of all, you start to feel great about yourself because you're no longer being taken advantage of. Now you're in a situation where you're equals. The second thing that's going to happen is that person is going to come to a crossroads. They're going to become aware really fast that, hey, this relationship isn't working. Now, they could address it with you, but in my experience, that's pretty rare. But they might, in which case you could say, well, listen, you had promised to do this, you didn't, so I just assumed, okay, you don't want to, you're not that serious about it, so I'm only going to do this much. And then it's going to be, oh, I didn't realize it, and you can fix it. Great. More likely, one of 2 scenarios will take place. The person is either going to recognize that you recognize that they were getting more than they were giving, and they're going to fix it if they care about the relationship. They're all of a sudden going to start doing more and start meeting you halfway. Or the other option is, if they're sharks, they're going to swim away and try to find weaker prey that they can attack and take advantage of because they realize it isn't going to work with you. And either way, you get what you want, because what ends up happening is in your business relationships, you no longer then need to micromanage them. If you just go by the rule of reciprocity with all of your business relationships, and by the way, not a bad idea to do this in your life as well. If you have friends or, friends that just take and never give, that, they don't care about your situation, then you can just pull back too. And all of a sudden, it will mend itself because they'll either go on to somebody else or they will recognize the fact that they've been selfish and they'll fix it. And so in your business relationships, it will self-sort and you will end up with a closer inner circle of people that you're in win-win relationships with. You'll have a secondary circle of people where it's a little bit more arm's length, and then the sharks will swim away. And, that's a win-win for you and for everybody else because then you feel great about it. And I'll share with you again, a personal story. In the industry I'm in where we deal a lot with affiliates, this is where this is the most common thing. Because as affiliates, we partner together and we promote each other's product launches. But the problem with it is we don't all launch at the same time. So there are moments where I may launch in June and then somebody else may launch in July, somebody else may launch in May. So in good faith, if an affiliate approaches me in May, I may say, okay, sure, I'll promote it for you. So I spend all the time and effort to promote their product. And then when mine comes out in June, they tell me, oh, I'm too busy. I've already committed to these 3 guys. Well, okay, but you took my promotion and that was fine. So again, law of reciprocity, you let that slide. Happens a couple of times more, then all of a sudden, I tell them, well, I'm too busy. I have to prioritize the partners who actually promote mine. And again, it's like magic. One of a couple things happens. Either I get messages saying, oh, geez, I'm so sorry. I promise I'll get you on the next one. I didn't even realize it. I know you've been working hard for me and I haven't been able to be there for you. I'll be there for you on the next one. And they fix it. Or they swim away. Okay, well, I just want to find other people who are going to promote for me and I never have to give back. So I'm not going to bother with you anymore. That's fine with me too. I'd rather give everybody a chance because in my view, the more positive relationships you can build in your business and your life, the better. It makes your life better. It makes your results better. It makes your business better and everything else. That said, it's important not to be taken advantage of either and make sure that you're getting, what you deserve just because you're a nice guy or a nice girl. Remember, if you have any questions, share them with me at levrigeshow.com so I can answer them for you in future episodes. And until next time, make it happen.